Well, then, let's get to the matter of the day. The president has directed the activation of the long-term strategy security plan for the geopolitical zone, that is the northwest region of the country. This is contained in a statement by the senior special assistant to the president, Mr. Garba Shehu, who explains that the strategic plan was collectively drawn by security agencies and state governments. It adds, quote, under the security plan, states working with federal government will support security and military operations with logistics and local intelligence to strengthen the loop and scale up surveillance. The federal government is establishing new forward operational bases, end of quote. There's perhaps palpable anxiety over the security situation in the land as the issues of kidnapping and banditry is on the rise. It's the beginning of the president's second term in office, and the nation is expectant of a good outing. Meanwhile, the last election, we saw the emergence of President Buhari and the APC for a second term has been criticized in the report of the European Union Observation Monitoring Group. We'll take attention to that, and we shall be discussing it. Let's get talking, everyone, and we'll take it one after the other. Joining me from our Abuja studio is the presidential candidate of the ANRP and the national chairman, Mr. Tope Fasua, alongside Mr. Festus Okoye, National Commissioner of INEC in charge of publicity and voter education. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on. Before I come to Mr. Okoye, let me quickly come to Mr. Tope Fasua. There seems to be a tension on the security situation because you're a politician. Let me get your view on a certain agenda for the president. Security seems to be very paramount. A lot of Nigerians are asking him also to set up the team that will work for him in the next 4 years. How long will it take to do that? That's a big question. He says the least he has close to his chest. From your own point of view, you've talked about very lofty ideas when you were campaigning in 2019 at the election. Tell us, what are your expectations of the president?
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, Sheung. Well, as you have a countdown already, 19 days since inauguration, except they want to take it from June 12th. The days are ticking away. Popular columnist Sonala Olumese set a clock of 1,444 days for the president as well. You know, when I see such things, I get scared because, how many days is 1,444? Now, in this 1,444, you have to fix security, you have to fix the roads, you have to fix infrastructure, you have to fix education. Therefore, you know, many times I tell people that those who vie for the presidency of our country, a country in serious developmental deficit, most of the people I see, and sometimes, unfortunately, including those who win or those who claim to have a claim to winning, don't actually seem to understand the enormity of the problem on hand and the little time with which that they have to fix these issues. So, well, the time is ticking away. I cannot preempt the president. I would have hoped that it would move a lot faster, especially given the benefit of hindsight. And, of course, the fiasco of the first term, where what we saw was that he went to sleep for about 6 months, almost 7 months. Something just happened. I don't know why, you know, and then he said PAMSEX can run the ministries and so on. You know, so now there needs to be a grand strategy and a grand plan. We need, I keep saying that, you know, it is not an advantage for a leader in Nigeria, whether at state level or federal level or even local level, to be taciturn. You know, taciturnity is not an advantage. We need a talkative president, you know, who's going to keep talking to people and inspiring us and communicating in every way that he can. Because look, with 1,444 days and a myriad of problems and crises everywhere, you cannot afford not to keep motivating your people in the direction that you want them to go. So in terms of security, you know, I mean, he has his job cut out for him. The problem, though, is that the problem of security in this country seems to metastasize, and sometimes it moves from one point to the other. Today we're talking of kidnapping in the north. It's something that we never used to know in Zamfara State. I went through some of those places when I was campaigning, Alata Mafara and Co. I went through Yobe State, Beni Sheikh, you know, the Makinta Kuri, all those places. You know, we never knew things like this would happen. And now I hear people get kidnapped for 50,000 naira. And then we had this thing called bandits. And then they come in and they go out and we can't even tell where they're coming from. Failure of intelligence, all right? So intelligence is key. Of course, if you ask me, so we got all that going on. We've got all these things going on in the southwest of Nigeria as well. Some say is, you know, Fulani cattle herder, even though many times what we've seen is there's that, you know, propensity to quickly jump and say they're cattle herders. It fails, you know. However, I've listened to one or two tapes, you know, on WhatsApp and co, where I see that, look, there seems to be a problem. There seems to be a scenario where, indeed, yes, some of these guys are maybe from the north, or they kind of accent. I mean, from my forensic experience, I can tell that, you know, this is going on. But also, we have a scenario where people are now riding on that to perpetrate all sorts of evil. And I think what we're seeing in general is a societal collapse. That's what's going on. You know, it looks good in some parts. Nigeria is okay for those who it's okay for, but they should understand that they're getting fewer and fewer. And this is a time for us to know exactly what we want to achieve with this country. In order to solve the security problem, I would say, number one, get your intelligence right. Number two, trust nobody. The buck will stop at the door, at the table of the president at the end of the day.
All right.
The president should be able to do a few crazy things. You don't have to keep, look, don't trust anybody too deeply. You don't need service chiefs that are constantly around and you're just afraid of changing them. Sometimes you change them just for the heck of it. You know, that's what it takes. And of course, this problem will be solved by Nigerians. We need a lot more people in security services in this country, apart from investing in intelligence. What I always push is a scenario where we help ourselves. Before we start to buy gadgets that are so expensive from abroad, because people say this is what you need in order to solve this, you know, we can actually begin to help ourselves. I believe we should be able to create, I mean, the Nigerian Army was, I think they did 1 or 2 drones, or Nigeria Air Force. We need a lot of drones in this country, you know, so that we can begin to get some intelligence, but we need boots on ground as well.
Okay.
We need more people in the police.
Mr. Fasua, so that we can go to our other issue for tonight.